Yeah, whatever. Communist Dan. Herbert Robert William Hennis here, a.k.a. Owen Reed. Go to my YouTube channel, That Old Guy Australia. Like and subscribe. I need 1,000 to get my new Audi, right? Got to start off with a bit of an apology. My last video, it's been shared around the world in different places, and got a lot of really nice comments on it. And but also got a bit of feedback. Some people were pretty offended by the language. I don't know. You know, what am I going to say? Oh, but I'm a hero. Guess what happened? I'm banned in 5 countries. 5 countries. 5. Yay, bucket list. 5 countries I've been banned. YouTube told me this morning. Didn't like the language. I don't know. I like it. Anyway, I got some more subscribers, so somebody's watching it and liking it, and thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, honestly. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know? But anyway. So for my overseas viewers, we have a number of states in Australia. If you go to a map of Australia, look down the right-hand side, down to the bottom, you'll see Victoria. We have a premier who dominates each state, runs it, and they're elected by the public. And they're kind of like your governors if you're in America or whatever they are in other countries. The one down there is a guy called Dan Andrews. Dan Andrews is fully owned by the CCP. We know this. He tried to push through a deal which China's been doing around the world with various countries, particularly poor countries and Indo-Pacific countries, where they've loaned them billions and trillions of dollars and built major assets for them. And then when the countries couldn't repay, they foreclosed on the debt and they've owned the asset for themselves. And that's given them enormous power around the world. And this isn't some random thing. They've been working on this. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. But they do have a name for it, you know, like willow branches, whatever, I don't know, 1,000 petals or whatever. But they've been doing it. So Australia was the one. In the north of Australia, the very northern border, we have a Port of Darwin. The Chinese Communist Party own that. Down below Perth, inland from Perth, the Chinese Party have built a huge airport. They were trying to get the Port of Melbourne on the southern border of Australia from Dan Andrews. And he made major promises to them. Trust me on that. He made major promises. That was using the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, public pressure made our Prime Minister eventually, after over a year, finally tell Dan Andrews he could not sign that deal. So note that. He told him he couldn't sign the deal, right? So the Prime Minister's told him he couldn't do it. Just remember that. On the East Coast, we had a communist bloody premier there with Berejiklian, but she's headed off to ICAC, which is the Independent Commission Against Corruption, where she'll be hopefully found guilty and thrown in a slammer for a bit. But she's gone, replaced by another one. God. But anyway, we just keep going. Keep forging forward until eventually we win this thing. And it will take time, right through a lot of darkness, and we've got to keep going, not lose heart. Remember, there's millions and billions of us around the world, and we're all in this together. We are. We're not the minority that they want you to think we are. The tremendous amount of people who are on our side, who are actually complicit, but they're still on our side. They're still on our side. They're not liking the way it's gone. They've made the choice, but they don't want you to be forced to make it. That's how it goes. So down in Victoria, Dan Andrews, as an act of defiance of the Australian government, is separating Victoria from the rest of the states and from Australia by declaring this basically a dictatorship. That's where one ruler pretty much owns and controls that. It's nothing to do with the public. He'll control that. He's already banned next year's elections, which means you can't elect a premier there anymore or a government. He's banned next year's elections, right? Wow, builders, don't worry about it, I'll keep going. So by banning next year's elections, he's ensured that he will retain power. Now, he's passed a number of legislations, or ramming these through, which I'll just get into. He can declare a pandemic even if it doesn't exist in Australia. He can declare a pandemic in Victoria, even if it doesn't exist. This is to cover the end of the Australian Federal Emergency Act on December 1st. So he can declare it if he wants to. Victoria's got a pandemic. That's it. He can lock down Victoria anytime he wants to. Lock it down. He has the power, the sole power to do that. He can make health orders based on race, religion, political beliefs or gender. Race, religion, political beliefs, gender. Health orders based on that, class actions. And if you break those orders, up to a $90,000 fine and 2 years jail. He has an oversight committee, so everybody feels like he's not just doing it all himself. He's got people who he has to answer to. He elects them. He is the only person who can nominate who's on that committee. The oversight committee is selected by him. Lastly, if he doesn't agree with their decision, he has final say. He can overrule whatever decision they make. He can fully overrule it. He has the final say in what decisions are made. Right? Now, if that's not socialism at the least and communism at the best, then I don't know what is. Okay? Don't know what is. That's it on that. There's nothing more to say about that. I'm finishing off that. Back to Morrison. Cricket's chirping. Morrison claims that he can't override the premiers, but he made Dan not sign the Belt and Road Initiative with China. So he can. But if you go and look at a great Indigenous activist here called David Lurnpa, L-U-R-N-P-A, one of the most incredible Indigenous men in this country, and certainly knowledgeable way beyond belief. And the people that he works, which is the First Nation, which you've got to go and look at their website. It's not Pauline Hanson, it's them. Incredible organisation, right? We've got guys like Rob Cullerton, who's now received official confirmation from England, from the Queen, that the Great Seal, which was what we'd signed all of our jurisdiction under initially, when it was changed to the Australian one, which has the emu and the kangaroo, how that's illegal. That's for the Corporation of Australia. I don't want to get into this too much. Those of us that know. Those that don't, you need to get into this and you look into it. If these guys, these First Nation Indigenous people know about this, and a lot of us conspiracy theorists know about it, then you need to understand what's going on here. We're not a constitution. That's why Morrison hasn't got full control over the premiers, because the constitution was put in place to ensure that no premier went rogue, went out on his own. That's why you have an elected prime minister, one man, to control them. Make sense? That's what he's there for. But if the constitution has been changed and doesn't no longer exist and we're a corporation, he hasn't got the same power and influence, and he knows that. But he has to be seen to be doing something. He has to be seen to be doing something. He's doing climate change at the moment. Off doing climate change crap. You ought to see the comments on his posts on social media. He gets slammed. And by the way, we've just uncovered information the other week, which we knew about, where there's corporations over in India and in Pakistan and in Asia that they have huge factories set up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of computers. They set up fake accounts. They're called shills. So they go to, you put a post up and they put up likes, thousands of likes and comments saying, oh, you're doing a great job, keep it up, good work, PM. Things like that. They're fake. I've tracked some of these accounts and I've shown people they're shills. I've shown people. I've exposed them. But you can do it. It's not hard. So anyway, just a quick one. Sorry if I offended people yesterday with my video. Apparently I did. That's all I got to say about that. No more language. I want to get banned in more countries. We're going to name and shame the political parties that support this legislation. Now, they'll be independent senators down in Victoria and the Greens. We know they're the Greens because the Greens and Labor are, one bird, two wings. There are Liberal senators who are standing up against it, but they're powerless. They don't have the numbers. And Andrews knows that. That's why he's trying to bring this in. And if he succeeds with his legislation, it gets rammed through, he will, in essence, secede. He will be a separate entity within Australia. And that's not what we're supposed to be. That Morrison has got to do something. He has to be forced into doing something. We can't allow this to continue. Mark McGowan's watching what's happening over in WA, and I guarantee if Andrews gets this through, he'll follow his lead. That's what will happen. Peace and love. Didn't mean to offend you all or anybody. I'm just me. This is a short one. Peace and light. Keep going. You know that we win in the end, but it's just a bit of a battle. I love you all. You're just fantastic people. Thank you for the support and the encouragement. It's just amazing. Thank you.